Most men think compliments are simple. Say she's beautiful. Say she looks amazing. Done. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most compliments men use create zero attraction. They're predictable, forgettable, invisible. And that's exactly why so many men feel confused when nothing happens. The reality is this: the right compliments can completely change how a woman sees you. Not louder compliments, smarter ones. The kind that trigger real attraction psychology. In this video, you'll discover 10 compliments that make women like you instantly. And once you understand the psychology behind them, the way women respond to you can change fast. Yes, these are the compliments that make women like you instantly, and most men have never learned them. So if you're a man who wants to understand attraction, confidence, and the psychology women actually respond to, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. We're building a community of men learning this together, and our goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers, so your subscription really helps push this knowledge further. Topic 1. You have a really interesting mind. A lot of men believe compliments should start with appearance. You're beautiful. You look amazing. Things like that. But a more observant man notices something interesting. Most women have heard those compliments hundreds of times. Sure, they're nice, but they rarely create real impact. Now, when a man looks at a woman and casually says, "You have a really interesting mind," something different happens. It's not just a compliment, it's recognition of how she thinks. This kind of compliment touches a much deeper part of her identity. It tells her that the man isn't just looking, he's actually paying attention. Imagine a simple conversation about travel. She mentions that she prefers small towns because she likes observing how people really live. In that moment, an attentive man might smile and say, "That's interesting. You have a really interesting mind." That small comment turns an ordinary conversation into something memorable. There's a psychological reason why this works so well. When someone feels intellectually understood, emotional connection grows almost instantly. It's like her brain quietly says, "Okay, this person actually sees me," and interestingly, that creates something even more powerful than a physical compliment. Curiosity. She starts wondering what else this man notices about her. That's exactly when the dynamic of the conversation begins to shift, opening the door for a different kind of compliment most men never think to use. Topic 2. You notice things most people miss. There's a type of compliment that makes a woman feel instantly valued, the kind that recognizes something almost nobody else notices. When a man says you notice things most people miss, he's doing more than praising intelligence. He's acknowledging her ability to observe the world on a deeper level. And that's rare. Most conversations revolve around the obvious, the surface level, the automatic. Picture a simple moment. You're talking in a cafe, and she casually points out something small, maybe that the waiter seems exhausted, or that the music in the room changes people's moods. Tiny details that most people completely overlook. A perceptive man might smile and say, "You notice things most people miss." That's actually pretty cool. Suddenly she feels recognized, like someone is finally paying attention to how she sees the world. Psychologically, this taps into something powerful: the feeling of uniqueness. Every human being wants to feel like they have something special about them. When someone recognizes that ability to notice subtle things, she begins to feel different, in a good way. And interestingly, the more understood she feels, the more she tends to open up, sharing thoughts, stories, and perspectives. That's when the conversation starts gaining depth, creating space for an even more unexpected compliment, one that has less to do with what she thinks and more to do with the energy she brings into a room. Topic 3. You have a really calm energy. There's something interesting about human interactions that many men overlook. A lot of women spend their entire day dealing with anxious people, loud personalities, and others constantly trying to impress everyone around them. It's like the environment is always rushing. That's why when someone recognizes something different, the emotional energy she brings, the impact can be immediate. A simple compliment like "You have a really calm energy" may sound small, but psychologically it hits deeper than most people realize. Imagine a conversation flowing naturally. She speaks calmly, listens carefully, responds thoughtfully. There's no rush, no tension. In that moment, a man might say something like, "I like talking to you. I have a really calm energy." That comment acts like a mirror. Often she doesn't even realize she gives off that feeling until someone points it out. And once she does, the connection grows. This works because the compliment isn't about looks or social performance. It recognizes something more subtle: presence. People who give off calm energy make others feel comfortable, and when someone acknowledges that, it creates an almost instant bond. Interestingly, that recognition shifts the dynamic of the conversation. She relaxes even more, opens up more naturally. And that's exactly when another opportunity appears. A compliment that highlights something even more powerful inside an interaction: the experience of the conversation itself. Topic 4. You're actually really fun to talk to. Many men think they need to impress during a conversation. They tell exaggerated stories, try to sound more interesting than they really are, or search for the perfect line so they don't seem boring. But a more experienced communicator sees something different. One of the most powerful ways to build connection is simply recognizing when a conversation flows naturally. A compliment like "you're actually really fun to talk to" does exactly that. This phrase has a subtle but powerful effect. It shifts the focus of the interaction. Instead of sounding like the man is trying to win her over, it shows he's genuinely enjoying the moment. Imagine they're talking about movies or travel. The conversation flows effortlessly for several minutes. At some point, he smiles and says, "You're actually really fun to talk to." This conversation is surprisingly good. It's simple, direct, and authentic. Psychologically, this creates a form of social validation. She starts realizing that her presence is part of what makes the interaction enjoyable. And when someone feels like they're contributing to a positive experience, they naturally invest more emotionally in that moment. It's almost like both people are building something together right there. And when that feeling appears, another opportunity opens up, because the next thing that really strengthens attraction isn't the conversation itself, but something that drives people from the inside out: passion. Topic 5. I like how passionate you are about that. In almost every conversation, there's a moment when someone talks about something they truly care about. It could be their job, a hobby, a personal project, or something simple like cooking, traveling, or photography. And when people talk about something they love, their energy changes. Their voice becomes more animated, their eyes light up, their gestures become more expressive. A perceptive observer notices this right away, and that's where one of the most powerful compliments comes in. When a man says, "I like how passionate you are about that," he's not just complimenting the topic. He's appreciating the passion itself, the way she connects to what she loves. Imagine she starts talking about how much she enjoys photography or learning new languages. Instead of simply saying "that's cool," he might say, "I like how passionate you are when you talk about that. It's actually really interesting to watch." That kind of recognition makes her feel genuinely seen. Psychologically, this activates identity validation. People love when someone acknowledges what truly matters to them. And when a man shows real interest in a woman's passions, he immediately stands out from the countless surface-level conversations she usually experiences. Interestingly, this creates an unexpected effect, because when someone feels valued for what they care about, they naturally reveal more of their personality. And that's exactly where another intriguing compliment can appear, one that makes her feel like there's something uniquely special about her. Topic 6. You're different. In a good way, there's a short phrase that, when used at the right moment, can spark almost instant curiosity. You're different. In a good way, it sounds simple, almost casual. But psychologically, it touches something every human being wants to feel: the sense of being unique. The truth is, many women are used to hearing the same predictable compliments: beautiful, funny, smart, words that have lost some of their impact. But when someone says she's different, her mind naturally wants to understand why. Imagine they've been talking for a few minutes and she shows an unexpected sense of humor or a way of thinking that stands out. In that moment, the man might smile slightly and say, "You're different," in a good way. Then he simply continues the conversation. The interesting part is that he doesn't need to explain what he meant right away. That small mystery creates a subtle tension, almost like a social puzzle. The human brain reacts strongly to this kind of situation. When someone realizes there's something special being noticed, a natural curiosity appears. She might ask, "What do you mean?" or simply start paying closer attention to the interaction. And that's when the dynamic shifts again. Because once a woman senses that there's something unique about the way she expresses herself, the next compliment that deepens attraction isn't about difference anymore. It's about the strength of her personality. Topic 7. You have a strong personality. There's a kind of compliment that goes beyond charm or appearance. It recognizes something rarer: character. When a man says you have a strong personality, he's pointing to something many women spend years developing: authenticity. It's not about being perfect or trying to please everyone. It's about having opinions, presence, and the confidence to show who you really are. Imagine a conversation where she expresses an opinion that goes against the majority, maybe about work, relationships, or the way people live their lives. Many people might try to debate or correct her, but an emotionally intelligent man notices something else. He might simply say, "I like that. You have a strong personality." That one sentence changes the moment. What could have turned into disagreement becomes recognition instead. Psychologically, this creates instant respect. People with strong personalities are often misunderstood or labeled as difficult. When someone recognizes that strength in a positive way, it creates a connection based on admiration, not just attraction. And interestingly, when a woman realizes a man respects who she truly is, trust in the interaction grows. And when trust grows, space opens for something even more powerful in human connection: the way someone makes others feel just by being around them. Topic 8. You make people feel comfortable. There's a social skill that very few people truly master, yet it has a massive impact on relationships: the ability to make others feel comfortable. Some people walk into a room and, almost without trying, create a relaxed atmosphere. Conversations flow, people loosen up, nobody feels the need to pretend or impress. When a man notices this quality in a woman and says you make people feel comfortable, he's highlighting something incredibly valuable. Picture a simple moment. You're talking in a small group of friends, maybe at dinner or during a casual gathering. She listens attentively, responds with empathy, asks small questions that keep the conversation moving. And nothing dramatic, nothing exaggerated, just genuine presence. At a quiet moment, the man might say, "You know something? You make people feel comfortable around you." That compliment shows he notices not just what she says, but the impact she has on others. Psychologically, this kind of recognition is powerful because it validates a deep social ability. Many women care a lot about how they treat others, but almost no one verbalizes it. Someone points out that quality, it creates a strong emotional sense of appreciation. And interestingly, when someone feels valued for who they are in a social setting, they naturally begin to trust the interaction more. And when that trust begins to grow, the perfect moment appears for an even more personal compliment, one that touches emotional safety between two people. Topic 9. You're surprisingly easy to open up to. There's a curious moment that happens in certain conversations. Without realizing it, two people start talking about slightly more personal things. Nothing heavy or dramatic, just honest thoughts, life experiences, small stories you wouldn't normally share with just anyone. When that happens, a simple compliment like "you're surprisingly easy to open up to" can have a powerful effect on the interaction. This phrase communicates something very specific: trust. Imagine that. During the conversation, he shares something about a challenge at work, a trip that changed how he sees things, or even a funny but personal story. After a few minutes, he might say naturally, "You know what's interesting? You're surprisingly easy to open up to." That statement helps her realize something important. Her presence creates a safe space for people to express themselves. Psychologically, this activates one of the strongest triggers in human relationships: emotional intimacy. When someone realizes they make others feel safe enough to share personal things, they instantly feel more connected in that interaction. And interestingly, the conversation moves to another level again, because when two people begin developing that kind of trust, the opportunity appears for an even stronger compliment, one that combines two of her qualities in a way most men never think to notice. Topic 10. You have that rare combination. There's a type of compliment that goes beyond recognizing just one quality. It shows that someone sees something more complex, a rare combination of traits. When a man says you have that rare combination, he's signaling that he's noticed different aspects of her personality and sees something special in how they fit together. That kind of compliment carries weight because it shows genuine attention. Imagine that throughout the conversation, he notices two things about her. Maybe she's intelligent, but also has a playful sense of humor. Or maybe she's confident while still being incredibly kind to the people around her. In that moment, he might say something like, "You have that rare combination. You're very thoughtful, but also really fun to talk to." That kind of observation makes her feel understood on a deeper level. Psychologically, this activates a powerful form of identity recognition. Every human being enjoys feeling like someone sees the nuances of their personality, not just surface traits. When someone points out two qualities that aren't usually mentioned together, it creates a sense of exclusivity. And interestingly, it closes the loop of the entire interaction. Curiosity leads to recognition. Recognition leads to connection. And it quietly leaves a question in her mind: what else does this man notice about me? Conclusion. Now pause for a moment and think about this. How many men spend years trying to impress women? Using the same predictable lines, the same surface-level compliments, hoping for different results? The truth is, attraction rarely starts with the obvious. It begins when someone feels truly seen, understood, and recognized in a way most people never bother to notice. And that's exactly what these compliments do when they're used naturally. But here's the most important part of all this. Knowledge only changes things when you actually apply it. Now, the real question is simple. Which one of these compliments are you going to start using in your next conversations? Which one feels the most natural for your personality? Because when a man learns to observe better, listen better, and recognize real qualities in people, something interesting happens. Conversations feel easier, connection happens faster, and attraction stops feeling like a mystery. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these compliments felt the most powerful to you? Is there one you had never thought about before? Drop a comment below, because that discussion might help other men who are also trying to understand attraction psychology. And if you want to keep learning about behavior, confidence, and the psychology of attraction, things most men were never taught, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way you won't miss the next videos that can genuinely change how you communicate and connect with people.